Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. I'm your host, Sam. Alongside me, as always, is the Orange Bomber, Tarek. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Sam. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. Looks like we got a full contingent tonight, so let's read them off. We got Jessica. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm a little tired and a little not as caught up on football as normal, but I'll do my best.
That's okay. You always do pretty good. Speaking of, doing pretty good, we have Football Jesus who just doesn't do good. How you doing tonight?
I'm feeling like a basement dweller today, but I think this is my week.
It might be. You never know. It's been a crazy week. By the way, Pardon Our Picks. New logo, as you can see, provided to us by Andrew Paget. Thank you very much. Of Aardvark Concepts, one of our sponsors, Aardvark Concepts Incorporated, more than just a sign shop, and Into Deep the band. Catch them both Friday and Saturday this week. Friday at Farm Brew Live 6:30, and that'll be down in Manassas. Saturday, Bethesda Caddies 9 o'clock. Catch them. It's going to be great. Couple of shows. So, speaking of a pretty good show, the New York Giants, man, they're doing it with backup quarterback, Saquon Barkley at quarterback. They're 4-1 in a very difficult NFC East. Is this team for real?
I guess I'll take this one first.
Yes, your idea. You take it.
Okay. I'm going to go with yes. And the reason I'm going to go with yes is a little unconventional, and it's really more so on the opponents that they've played. I mean, I'm on record on this podcast as saying the Packers are not for real this year, but the Packers sort of showed up in London, but so did the Giants. I mean, they're running the ball effectively. They're completing passes to their, dishwasher wide receivers, because all the ones that are worth anything are injured or are Kenny Galladay. And I don't know. I think if the Giants can continue to play with this level of gumption down the stretch, they have a real shot at winning this division.
I'm just looking at their schedule coming up, just to get an idea to see if we can even really get an answer on that, because the teams you play kind of mark out how well you're going to do, or whether it means something or not. We got the Ravens next week, which that's to me a toss up of what's going to happen. We'll talk about that later. The Jags, Seahawks, Texans have been okay, but till the Lions and the Cowboys, it's really not that hard of a schedule for them. So I don't think we're really going to find out. But can they last to get that long? And if they're pulling it out, I didn't look. Let me see, what are the wins? So they've won by significant margins. It's not 1 point games. It's by field goals or more. So I think they're pretty close to it, if not, but I think it's going to be a couple weeks before we really see one way or the other.
So I am leaning toward yes, they are for real, but I'm not quite there yet. I don't think that they're going to do as well this week, but I also look at their past competitors as an indicator as well, and not in a good way. To me, the only real impressive win for them was the Packers, and that's because the Packers finally looked better. Otherwise, who did they played? Was it the Titans?
Titans week 1.
The Carolina Panthers. I mean, that's enough said. And then the Bears. So yeah, I'm not. Those were their other wins, and to me, that doesn't really prove a whole lot, especially with the dumpster fire that's happening in most of those places right now. So I'm going to say in the next few weeks, it'll tell, but I'm definitely not sold that they are quite there. And it could be a matter of time just for the offense and the defense to fully jive. And they could be a serious team that could take the division, but it is a tough division. I don't really see that happening.
Damn, just took a lot of the words right out of my mouth. I mean, you look at some of the teams they beat. They beat the Titans by 1 point week 1. They beat the Panthers by 3 points. They lost to the Cowboys, who had a second-string quarterback in. Mind you, the Cowboys are doing surprisingly well. The Bears, they beat by 8 points. So not a single one of these wins is by more than a score. Every single one of these was close. And even the Packers, victory can be explained in a way that it makes it less interesting. They played in London, and the Giants have been to London multiple times. They've actually played the past couple of years in London. The Packers don't really travel to London. And if you're not used to that kind of travel, it can be difficult. Look what happened to the Vikings. They came out flat against a team that they probably should have beat pretty handily a couple weeks ago. And I think that was part of the problem with the Packers. Now, they do have a couple of games that they can win coming up. They do have the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the Texans, even the Lions. So 3 more wins gets them to 7. But you look at the rest of the people on their slate, most of the rest of the people on their slate are winning record teams with good records. 4-1, 5-0. I mean, they're going to have a hard time getting over that hump. They may get to 8 wins this year, but I don't see them getting to the playoffs simply because they need more. They need more stuff on offense. Their defense is decent. Their offense just needs help. So I would say pretenders at this point. Speaking of pretenders, let's see if we have a new leader this week.
That was subtle, Brady.
It's me. With a nice 12-4 record this week, Jessica 9-7, second place, not too bad. Tarek with a really good 11-5, really good 11-5. Brady 10-6, very good. All winning records, of course.
So should we make this spicy with Brady? And if he comes in last, he has to cut his hair.
I will fight you tooth and nail. I'm just saying, like, I feel like we've seen people come from 10 games back in our just little for fun thing and win the whole thing. So just give me time. It's still early. And besides, I can still win playoffs.
Sure.
Who has a winning record in the playoffs? Oh, wait, that's me.
Ooh, fighting words. Anyway.
Got to keep up the banter and the rivalry.
That being said, let's check out our games of the week. We're going to start with Brady. What is your game of the week?
You know me. I have a type. I like seeing the teams that don't look like they can play well. And I had to go with this one this week. I picked the New York Jets going into Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers. And I'll tell you what really excited me about this one is, I mean, I've said it today, I've said it before. The Green Bay Packers are not a good football team this year. The Jets have been playing competitive football. They beat a division rival, now granted without a starting quarterback or a backup quarterback last week with the Miami Dolphins. But they still put up 40 points. They played solid offense. They played great defense. They didn't, commit many mistakes. And I'm seeing out of Aaron Rodgers, basically every game that I watch him in, overthrow his receivers and then blame it on his receivers. And I just don't see the Packers winning this game. I think the Jets are that scrappy team that are going to go into Lambeau and take this game by a field goal, whether it be by the defense creating a turnover on one of those overthrown balls or committing to the run and stopping Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I mean, Zach Wilson didn't put up fantastic numbers, but it was good enough to win. And I'm kind of a believer in the New York Jets. I mean, they're kind of the new Detroit Lions, even though the Lions looked like the Lions last week.
Somebody loves those New York teams.
just move to New York, Brady.
No.
So I'm going to go the other way on this. Unlike, what was it, last week, the week before, where like we just agreed with everybody the entire time, going back to type, I disagree. So I agree. I think this is going to be close. The New York Jets, I've been very impressed with. I've picked them a couple of weeks. I didn't pick them this week. I think they're going to lose. It's in Green Bay. They have home field advantage. Aaron Rodgers, while he has not looked as good as he has in years past, he still knows how to win. He still knows how to play the home crowd. He still knows. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be, like Brady said, like a field goal. It's going to be very close, but I think he's just going to eke it away just by the smidge, just because the Jets are still kind of, they're surprising everybody, but surprising a like veteran quarterback is, I think, a slightly different situation. So I think the Packers are just going to squeak this one out.
So I actually am going to agree with Tarek. It's in Lambeau. I do think that I think it's going to be closer than I would have ever guessed it was going to be. But the Jets are, they look good, surprisingly good, but they did have a difficult time. Hold on, buddy. They did have a difficult time beating the Miami Dolphins with their third string quarterback. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to find a way, as much as I hate to admit it, to actually win this one at home.
You should put that adorable cuteness on here for the world to see.
You should have heard him a minute ago. It was really cute. He came out talking about how something on his show bumped his head, and it was really funny.
So I'm surprised Jessica didn't pick the third option, where the Jets run out of fuel before they even get to Green Bay. But I got the Green Bay Packers in this one. The Jets, they've surprised recently, but they're the Jets, and going into Green Bay is one of the few teams that actually takes advantage of their home field advantage. They don't lose at home very much, and I think Aaron Rodgers, yes, things may be becoming part of the seams in Green Bay for him. And at this point, I'm starting to wonder if he's trying to force his way out of Green Bay because he just wants out. I feel like this week, at least, they put it together and get a victory. I feel like it's going to be a 10-point game. Green Bay is going to win this one. And it's going to be within reach of the Jets until late in the game. Zach Wilson is going to throw a couple of picks and give Green Bay the win. So that's my pick right there.
Sounds like I'm handing a game on everybody this week.
That's funny. All right, let's move on to the next game of the week. Tarek, what is your game?
All right. I partly thought, what would football Jesus do? I've got the Monday night game, Broncos and the Chargers. So on paper, with what's current stats and everything, the Chargers are going to run away with this. And I don't disagree. But I think what makes this game interesting is it's kind of the make or break point for Denver. Russell Wilson is coming to town, hasn't done squat. They're not scoring touchdowns, they're just scoring field goals. It's supposed to be he's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Denver has a new head coach. He's making bad calls. He's making stuff that's just pissing everybody off. And the Chargers are looking fairly good. They're making a run for the division. They're figuring it out. So I think the Chargers are going to win this, and I don't think it's going to be hard. But I think if Denver, what makes this interesting to me is I think if Denver doesn't do enough, if they don't win, if they don't do it, and I think they know this, which might make this very interesting game. I think we might have our second firing of the season. I think Hackett might be gone, and I don't know what's going to be up for Wilson, because if he's not producing, I mean, they're going to try and do it kind of like the old school Ravens with Kyle Bowler. Like, we got this quarterback, we got to use him. And then he was a very expensive trade. They sent all their good people over to Seattle so they could get Wilson. But if they don't produce, and it's just, I think it's just going to be a giant keg. Just.
I agree with Tarek. I mean, I'll be the contrarian, and he wants to go against me on the first pick, but I'll agree with him on this one.
You're the better man, Brady.
I mean, the Chargers tried to lose the game against the Browns last week. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They tried to lose that game, going for it on 4th and 1 on the wrong side of the 50. But I agree with Tarek. I think this is a very interesting game because, I mean, not only, do the Broncos have something to prove, I think the Chargers do as well. I mean, they spent a lot of trade and money capital on building that defense, which hasn't looked great. I mean, the offense has been without Keenan Allen, but the offense has been putting up points. Forget about that game in Jacksonville. But the Broncos, I mean, they can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball because apparently Russell Wilson had an undisclosed lat injury or something like that forever. So I think the Chargers kind of run away with this one. I don't know if the head coach gets fired after this one, but I'm leaning towards yes, because if it does come out that he knew about this Russell Wilson injury and didn't report it, then he's going to be on the unemployment line with Matt Rule. But I think the Broncos are going to do everything they can to win this game. Trick plays, going for it on 4th down, things like that. But I think, especially if Keenan Allen makes it back this week, which reports are saying that he could, I think the Chargers are going to win this one by at least 3 scores.
Yeah, 3 scores is I don't know if I'd go 3 scores. I definitely think it's going to be a pretty wide gap. And I agree that
football Jesus.
Huh?
So you must heed the words of football Jesus. They are gospel.
No, I'm not religious, so it's fine. But the Broncos they just look so messy and bad. It's embarrassing how bad they look. You can tell nobody is on the same page. The routes are all wrong. Like the quarterback and his wide receivers, it is just a freaking mess. It's something that maybe by the end of the season, they'll look a little bit more cohesive, but, and then on the other side of the ball, the Chargers on paper before the season started were supposed to be this unstoppable force, especially their defense. And so far their defense has been not great. They allow around 28 points per game, which, going up against an offense like the Denver Broncos, I'm sure it won't get to that point, but I have no doubt that the Chargers are going to come away with this one. They played a pretty weak game this week against Cleveland, and they absolutely didn't capitalize when they should have, made some poor decisions, but that's the only reason that they lost it. I think this week they bounced back to how they were looking, given their roster being a little bit slimmer than normal, but they're still going to win. There's in my mind, this is a sure thing.
There's an interesting thing here. The Broncos in all their games this year have been within 10 points. And a lot of those games have been kept to under 20. Actually, there's only one that went over, and that was the Raiders beating them 32-23. The rest of them 16, 9, 10, 12 points. Mind you, their offense is putrid at this point. And I think if there's going to be a firing in Denver, I think the offensive coordinator is probably the one that's going to get fired, not the head coach. Quite frankly, they can't put up yards with a Pro Bowl level quarterback. Really good receivers. Melvin Gordon in the backfield, he's fumbled a couple times. The Chargers, they put all their money into defense, thinking that was the last key that they needed to get to a Super Bowl. Their offense was good, but they just couldn't stop anybody. That's why they kept losing last year. They put all that money and everything into that, and quite frankly, their defense can't stop anyone. Wow, all their games, the defense has let up at least 24 points minimum. So I have the Chargers in this one simply because the offense of the Broncos is terrible, and they haven't scored more than 23 points all season. They've only done that once. I feel like the Chargers, they'll win by a touchdown, maybe 10 points, but it should be interesting. And yes, I think this may be a burying of the Denver Broncos at this point. But I think whoever loses this game is in serious trouble. So, all right, let's move on to our next game of the week. We have Jessica's game of the week. Who you got?
So this game of the week is not the flashiest game. It's honestly a a game with two teams that I expected to be much better this season. It's the Panthers and the Rams. There,
It's not the Panthers and Rams.
damn it. Are you sure I didn't pick the Panthers and the Rams?
Let me check again.
It's fine. I like this game anyway. So
It is not the Panthers and Rams.
whatever.
I'm
This
looking at the
game-
text. You literally said Bills Chiefs.
Well, I'm confused of what day it is. Okay, so I did pick the flashy game of the week. This game could be one of the most entertaining games or if not the most entertaining game of the regular season. The Bills are just on fire. Kansas City is most weeks looking great. They are struggling here and there, but I don't know who I picked, but I'm gonna go ahead and predict the Chiefs in this one. Is that not who I picked? I can't hear you, Sam. I picked the Bills.
You're muted, Sam.
I know.
All right, well, it could go either way. It's not that shocking, but yeah, sorry, I'm a mess. I mean, the Chiefs, in my opinion, are not the only reason I would choose the Chiefs as an upset.
Wasn't me. That wasn't me.
It's my computer. I don't know how to not have it clear right now.
Perfection's a work in progress, people. Remember it. T-shirts coming next week.
I don't know how to do this. Anyway, the only reason that I would see the Chiefs winning would be as a bounce back, as an upset. But to me, the Bills are the better team right now. I mean, the weapons that Josh Allen has when he's not just the only one, even Singletary's doing great. Whereas last year he was really struggling they had no run game. Now their defense is on fire. Von Miller, even with all of the injuries that they have, he's still a huge game changer. So sacks every game. They're just dominant over pretty much anybody they play. It's going to be an awesome game to watch, but I don't think it's going to be, I think it'll be a pretty close game. I'd say within three points. I guess the Bills.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll parlay off of what Jess said. And just in case she picked the Bills, this is why she would pick the Bills. So watching last night's yesterday's game, Monday night's game, Chiefs Raiders, the one problem that stuck out to me for the Chiefs was their left tackle that they traded for Orlando Brown. He was having fits all night with the Raiders defense. So what happens when you put an all-pro player like Von Miller, if he winds up playing, I know he was dealing with an injury during their last game, against a guy who struggled against a arguably subpar defense? I think Mahomes is going to get sacked probably 4 or 5 times this game. And I think the strength of the Bills defense, getting pressure on Mahomes and actually getting home to the quarterback, is really what's going to make the difference in this game. I did pick the Bills in this one, but I did go back and forth because we all know how Patrick Mahomes plays. The dude makes plays out of nothing, just like every other quarterback is coming out of college at this point. But he just seems to have that magic touch with no matter who's catching the ball, who's playing tight end, who's playing receiver, whoever, he can throw it between his legs and create magic. But, I mean, the Bills are still I know the Eagles are 5-0, but the Bills are still the best team in football to me at this point.
So you and I are pretty much on the same page.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I guess.
Do I want to be contrarian or do I want to agree with my colleagues? I'm pretty much going to agree. This is one of those yes or no type situations. So Kansas City has one loss against Denver, which on a Sunday, didn't they lose? They lost to Denver in like Sunday Night Football, didn't they? Or am I wrong?
I don't think it was
Who
Denver.
did they lose against?
Colts.
Yeah,
Colts.
they haven't played Denver
Colts.
yet.
Okay. I knew it was against a team that wasn't really good. So It was the Colts, the other horse team. I'm sorry.
What's funny is that's the same week that Buffalo lost to Miami.
Must have been something in the air. But so I'm going with the Bills on this one. I think the Bills have looked just a little bit better when they're off than the Kansas City Chiefs have. But Miami's looked pretty good up until Tua went out. But I got the Bills, but it's like the Bills question mark.
Okay. All right. Well, it may be a clean sweep this week. We're gonna have to find out who Jessica actually picked later on.
I always change my picks.
Only I know who she actually picked, and I'm not going to reveal that until later. It'll be spectacular. I have the Buffalo Bills in this one. Kansas City, yeah. It can kind of throw out last night's game, because it's a division rival. Those things are usually close. However, the Chiefs, they don't have a great defense. Some of the teams that they've played have put up decent amount of points. They average about 25 points against them a game. So take that as you will. It's just the offense has been holding them in. However, the Bills defense is good. And I think that the Kansas City defense just been terrible. It's just not good enough to hold up the Buffalo Bills. I have the Bills winning this one. It's going to be close. Now, mind you, I did flip a coin a few times just to see how this one goes. And then I still picked the Bills. So, it's all you, Josh Allen. You got this. All right. On to my game of the week. I picked the other night game. The Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I did have two options here. I had this one. I had the Ravens game, which was also a good Ravens team against a supposedly good Giants team. This one, I think, is the more important one. In my opinion, the Cowboys have not given up more than 20 points all game and all year, and the number seems to be going down defensive wise. As far as the Eagles go, they've been putting up numbers. They've been pretty darn good against some of these teams. But I don't trust Jalen Hurts. They can't. They're not blowing teams away. They're really not. These games are really close, and I think it's a problem for them. I think later on down the line, it's going to bite them in the rear. But not this game. I have the Eagles actually winning this game. I know, shocker. Huge Cowboys fan here, but now, mind you, that would change if Dak Prescott is 100% playing. Right now, I think Cooper Rush is the quarterback. I have the Eagles winning this one because what they have with Cooper Rush at quarterback is not sustainable. So, Eagles in a close divisional game to put them at 6-0.
I disagree. I mean, I agree with everything that you said. Just your result is, I'm disagreeing with your result. I'm going with Cowboys. It's actually based on all the stuff I was looking at. It's one of my upsets. Everything's leaning towards the Eagles with just the way they've been playing. They're 5-0. Cowboys tend to be the Cowboys and of the laughing stock of the NFL and all the memes I see on social media and stuff like that. And we don't know exactly who's going to show up and how and stuff. So, but the Cowboys have looked pretty good. Don't make of that what you will. The Eagles surprisingly look really pretty good this year. I think this is where the Eagles finally lose it. I think they're the last undefeated team, right? So I think this is where they lose it, but I agree. I think this is going to be very close, like less than a score game.
So I'm actually going with Sam's pick, taking the Eagles here. I'd say the only thing that I really disagreed with was your distrust for Jalen Hurts. I think he's a pretty top quarterback, well-rounded quarterback. I don't think he's the most accurate or the fastest. And so I don't think he's the best at either. But he gets the job done. He's a winner and he knows his offense. He's got some pretty good weapons on his side, and I think his biggest struggle is definitely going to be that Dallas defense. They are really they're the reason Dallas is in this conversation anyway. Micah Parsons is a beast. And even some of Dallas's offense is looking pretty good. Like Pollard's doing great. But I think there's always that divisional rivalry going on. There's always it's always a good game, even when these two teams generally look terrible. When they meet each other, they play phenomenally usually. So I think it's going to be an exciting game, but I have the Philadelphia Eagles taking it by more than a touchdown, actually. So
I agree with Jess and Terry. Jess and Sam, sorry. Jess and Sam.
we
It's a
disagreed.
Cowboys game. My
He thinks it's
brain
gonna be a
is
tie.
hardwired to saying that Sam is going to pick the Cowboys at all times. But I mean, everything's been said about this game. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been playing pretty well in the first half and then kind of like crap in the second. Cooper Rush has been playing below average quarterback play, but he's 5-0 as a starter. I will say, though, I think if Cooper Rush can throw for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns this week, even if Dak is healthy, there's going to be some questions about who starts for the Cowboys next week. Eagles by 7.
I would agree. There's probably going to be talk. And my question with Jalen Hurts is he's doing good against quite inferior competition. He beat the Lions. He beat the Vikings, the Commanders, the Jaguars.
Whoa. Did we just say the Vikings and the Lions are inferior?
Defense.
And the
I agree
Jaguars
with being
for
inferior
defenses.
for the Vikings, but not the Lions.
The defenses that he's been
The
going
Lions
against
are
have
definitely.
been. Yes, the Vikings defense hasn't been great. The Commanders has been awful. And the Jaguars has not been great either. They barely beat the Cardinals last week. And that was only 17. That was only 2017. That's why I don't really trust him yet. He's got to beat a good team before I start trusting him.
Who has Dallas won against?
Dallas.
Besides Tampa Bay.
They just beat the Rams.
I'm sorry, that goes in the same. No.
They beat the Giants. Yeah, beat the Giants. Let's see who else. Commanders.
Basically, the
Giants.
mirror image of the Lions and the Vikings.
Didn't they beat the Bengals?
Which that in and of itself is another conversation.
Yeah. So I mean, they got a good defense. I'm not saying their offense is great. That's just, they just haven't been putting up points. Anyway, let's get on to our.
Oh, and one last thing about the Cowboys and Cooper Rush. Like, I'm saying, like, he's not a starting quarterback, but Cooper Rush may be the starting quarterback for your Dallas Cowboys, Sam.
Quite frankly, they would be better if they had Amari Cooper still on their team. So, speaking of Amari Cooper, of course, Brady is the only one that picked the.
No, that was Jess that
was
changed her
Jessica,
pick. You put it in
see?
the wrong spot.
I put it in the wrong spot. I always have to make one mistake a week. One mistake.
Listen, you all gave me a really hard time. Okay. And I forgot my game of the week.
I would never pick the real Karate Kid Bailey Zappi.
What's funny is you guys watched me do it and didn't say a word.
I was paying attention to what you were doing.
To these things?
I swore my picture was in the third column.
You gotta save the best for last, Jess. I mean,
and we do look alike, so.
Anyway.
I mean, fair.
That's right. You both have very long hair.
Yeah, you just shaved that beard. You
Beautiful
look
long
exactly
locks.
alike.
No.
Not everybody
will
can
never.
be a sexy bald guy. Anyway, there's only 2 differences, and it's both Brady this week. I'm sorry, one's Brady, one's Jessica. Did it again. Jessica picked the Patriots.
Doesn't matter
Brady.
who you pick now, Brady. You clearly picked the Patriots.
It's on record.
Brady's in love with New York.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to the next ones. This one's a bit more. It's split, and of course, Tarek is the only one that picked the Dolphins. Everybody else is the same on the rest. Although there's some pretty good games in there. We move on to, of course, the only change there is Jessica picking Kansas City.
My bad. Maybe I was
And-
hoping for an upset. I don't know.
Maybe.
Here's my bold prediction of the week too: is that Cooper Kupp sets an all-time NFL receiving record against the Carolina Panthers this week.
That is bold.
I mean,
That
it's
is-
Cooper Kupp
All-time NFL receiving record. No way, man.
for one game. Yes,
Uh-uh.
How many yards is that, Brady?
I don't know, but it's Cooper Kupp against
You're
a.
Football Jesus, you're supposed to know.
All right,
should
you know
know
what?
this.
Someone
up.
talk. I will find that out.
So they are playing the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers have a decent defense. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. Now, mind you, this is the first week with buys, so not every teams are playing this week.
So
300
okay, so maybe I
15
got a little
yards.
overzealous with Cooper Kupp. It's 336 yards
336. That was close.
Yeah.
in 1989 by a Flipper Anderson.
Oh, Flipper Anderson. Yes.
Oh, Flipper Anderson.
I feel like
Yeah.
even more recent records are like high 270s or something, for somebody.
Calvin Johnson was second at 329.
Okay,
But
so
he's a freak.
yeah.
I don't know. Cooper Kupp for the win in that game.
Well, let's move on to the next one. Of course, we have 4 teams on bye: Lions, Raiders, Titans, and Texans, who just got a victory. Tarek, the only one to pick the Cowboys this week. I know it's shocking that I didn't pick them.
I was really
It's
hoping
good.
you would pick that as your game of the week. So
I did pick it as my game of the week.
I know I was happy that you did.
I'm more surprised that he picked it as his game of the week and didn't pick the Cowboys. That's just like my brain is like smoking and it's coming out of the back and it's
Well, like I said, if Dak Prescott's playing, if he's starting, I think they got a pretty good chance to win. But he's probably not gonna be back this week. So
See what happens.
yeah, there we go.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the first time in a couple weeks we've had all 4 of us here. So leave your comments down below. Let us know whether we're right, whether we're wrong, whether we're stupid, whether you tell us who you're going to pick. Click the like button, click subscribe so you know when we put out new videos. And as always, I'm not high. I'm Tarek.
I'm Jess.
I'm Cooper Kupp.
And there's Emmett.
Say bye.
Aw.
Oh, buddy. I'm Sam, and you have a great football week.
Bye-bye.